I was planning on coming and talking about intention today and kind of discussing just a few little things that were popping up through the weekend for me. And then I was coming in and I was just like, okay, I'm going to come in and do my whole usual connection and chatting with all of you. And then I was watching my energy levels and I was kind of sitting there kind of going, and my daughter came in as well, and everyone's feeling just really kind of sluggish and feeling a little bit scattered and hard to focus. And there just kind of felt like this buildup. And so I was like, well, I really just need to do some shaking meditation or some release of energy. And I thought, I need to do that before I do my live. And then I kind of thought, maybe I should just do that in my live. This is because this is something that I actually do over in the breathing space. Sometimes in our meditation that we do on Sunday, sometimes we just start off with a good shake. And I don't think I've ever done it in here before. I've actually never done a live standing up before. So this is kind of fun too. But I just thought that, there's been so much energy that's flowing through. There's so much intense energy that's kind of building up when you consider all the media and all the things that people are worried about and all the stresses and all of this. And in my mind, there's nothing better than a really good shake sometimes to just shake things off and shake things up. Sometimes you'll hear me talk about having a dance party with your kids or really getting things moving and really kind of releasing all this energy. And I think that if you are feeling kind of sluggish, sometimes there's nothing better than a good shake. So all that means is if you're doing a shaking meditation, I don't know how many of you have done this before, or if any of the members in the breathing space, you know what this is about. I always like to imagine that it's like you have energy that's flowing all around you. And sometimes if you have energy that is, you get attached into a situation or attached into a certain pattern of thinking, it's kind of like you're wearing Velcro and you have Velcro balls that are stuck to you of just trapped energy. And these Velcro balls kind of just stick to you. And the only way to clear it is to shake it off. So it can be as simple as you want. You can really go as just starting with shaking your hands, and you just allow that release, and you imagine those Velcro balls just releasing and releasing and releasing. And then you can kind of just shake your hips and you just allow all of that scatter. You can wobble your head back and forth and allow that movement. Just release, 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 release. You can release as much as you want. Just keep going and going. I once talked to a woman and she said that she went to a place and they did this for like 20 minutes of just shaking and 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 releasing, releasing and releasing and releasing. Hi, Jessica. Come shake with me. So we're releasing all of that negative energy, anything that's feeling weighted down, anything that's making you feel dragged down. You just let it release and release and release. I usually like to do a little bit of sweeping just to allow that energy to kind of flow off. So I literally imagine sweeping off the energy. So kind of just doing some clearing. And you can make it more fun, you can make it more dancing, but just shake. Just allow that movement, because so often we'll be sitting there and we'll just be allowing that energy to kind of sink down on us, and that energy just becomes super heavy and weighted. And unless you release it, it's going to keep building that momentum and allowing that to kind of flow down on you. So this is such a great thing to do with kids. Why do we think that kids kind of bounce around and do so much? Right? They understand that if you're shaking and you're moving, your energy is increasing flow. So make sure that you release also your feet. If you can kick off your shoes or your slippers, and you make sure that you keep, moving your ankles, make sure that you move your feet so that you stomp a little bit, get grounded, allow that energy to flow all the way from the top of your head, all the way through down to your legs. Release and allow it to flow off of you. Scatter it off, shed it off, so you literally are just releasing and shaking. I know, it's absolutely the most funny thing to do on a live. I will tell you, I'm not usually like the whole fitness kind of person, but I was out in the woods today with my kids because we were allowed to still walk in lockdown. And, we were out there and I just wanted to run and release and allow all of this stress and tension that has been building up globally to just shed off of me. So And I mean, here we are in spring, right? And it's spring here. And I know that for many of you, some of you are still kind of in wintry weather. And I know that some of you are in Australia as well. And so you're kind of headed into winter. And yet there's such an energy of shifting that we can all tap into. And it's only if you release what was that you can actually invite in what is. And so if you are feeling that kind of weighted down, stagnant energy, get up, shake it off, get your kids going, get some movement going. And I promise you, there's a good chance that you probably will not feel like doing this whatsoever. Because I know when I started off this live, I didn't feel like doing it. But sometimes that the more you just know that you need that energy flow, right? You can feel it, and you can feel the space that you're in to feel really weighted down. And then all of a sudden, you just know that you just need to plow forth and release that. And sometimes it really just is a good shake. You just shake it all off. Get the Taylor Swift going. It's all good. So just take a moment, release what's been. And I don't think there's a better way of actually inviting in new energy for the new week to come. Because when you release what's been and you allow all of that to physically be shaken off. I love that image of Velcro balls that you're just kind of flowing off and they're flying off of you. Just don't hold on to it. You can create the new perception. It kind of opens up. I'm going to sit down now. It kind of opens up to the new space of what I'm kind of playing around. We talked a little bit of this in the breathing space over the weekend at our session, because I'm kind of starting to want to shake up the energy of what everyone's kind of living under. You're watching social media, and social media is tending to be a little bit of the same. There's a little bit of sameness that everyone's starting to circulate. There's only so many times we can talk about boredom or sitting still or all the stresses or, how many times people are watching shows on Netflix. There's only so many times that those things can be built upon and posted. And I really think that it is time that we shift paradigms, especially within this group. So what I want to do with this is create, sorry, I'm going all rainbowy here. That's cool. I want to ask you a very simple question. And the simple question is I want you to ask yourself, what do you want to manifest from this time? And what I mean by that is spring-like, in this kind of spring kind of concept. If you imagine the seeds being planted now for your tomorrow, and for your month down the road, and for your 2 months down the road, and for your 6 months down the road, your seeds are being planted now. And I think we need to take that shift. I think it's kind of been, a couple of weeks ago, I was like, it's not time. We all have to grieve the things that we're missing. I know my son is grieving his classes, and my daughter is grieving her classes. I know everyone is still in that space of grieving the life that was, but I really need to suggest this. And whenever you're ready to jump into this, I want to encourage you to ask yourself, what do you want to manifest when it's over? Because the seeds of that is planted now. If the focus now is on too much momentum built upon, oh no, this is happening, or oh no, there's this, and there's all the overwhelm and all the fear and all of the space of weight, that heaviness that you were just shaking off. If too much energy is put on that heaviness, then in some matter or form, heaviness will emerge down the road. And this is what's really, really important that we focus in on here now. Because yes, we are in overwhelm. And yes, there is high anxiety that can be brewing. And yes, this is hard, okay? Absolutely. But within you is the power to create focus and intention for how you want to feel. How do you want to feel? What is a feeling that if you close your eyes and imagine a totally different scenario, You can call up within you and it feels like relief, and it feels like joy, and it feels like fun, and it feels like light. What can you do to call up the feeling of how you want to feel in 6 months? 6 months, if you imagine a state of abundance, of flow, of running through, no, you know what, actually, of 6 months' time, imagining yourself in a very crowded space, if that's what does it to you, right? If you imagine yourself in 6 months' time, that feeling of connection with other people and of going and hugging your friends and hugging your family, what does that feel like to you? What does that stir within you? And rather than it being a place of, oh, I wish, start to plant the seeds now. Plant the seeds. How does it feel? Know that by going lightly now and shaking off all that negative energy, as there goes my Wi-Fi, my headphones, shaking off all of that negative energy, you are actually creating the platform to plant the seeds that are going to build the momentum for your 6 months. Not only that, you're also creating the platform for your kids. You are creating a space of curiosity and of lightness and a space for them to grow and move forward and allow them to shake off their worries and stresses and allow them to understand what courage and bravery and expansionness and listening and allowing and flow and connection really looks like. So this is where I want to go. I know that it might seem too soon for some of you, but I know that this is the right path we need to go for. Oh, Felicia just said, I want this to build my family a solid, loving foundation to always rely on, at the same time finding love and acceptance of myself and all that I am and all that I can will be. I just got chills, Felicia. That's amazing. I also want to find more purpose for myself in my life. Yes. Yes. You know what you're doing? If you are setting that intention of creating your best life now and using this time, I literally have chills all over my body. If you are using this time for that, then you are using this time as a gift. And no matter what the outside circumstances is, that gift is going to just keep on giving for your entire life. You are using this time for exactly what I believe it's for. That it is going to ripple out and ripple out. And with that, all you're doing, even if you just take that very sentence, to build your family a solid, loving foundation to always rely on, that feeling of security, of love, of flow, of connection, of safety, foundation, that in itself is a vibration. That's a frequency that you can ride. Okay, you can every morning, it can be like, what do I want? Oh yes, foundation of love, security. What does security feel like? Focus on your root chakra, focus on feeling solid, focus on feeling secure, and then build from there. Allow the thoughts to add up. I don't know how often I talk about it in this group. I don't really talk about it much, but it actually only takes 17 seconds of uninterrupted thought to create a thought and feeling that matches the one you want. So if you focus on the feeling of solid, loving foundation for your home that everyone can rely on, that sense of security and safety, if you find thoughts that match, you focus on that feeling and create that feeling and create that feeling. And if you can hold on to that feeling and relish that feeling for 17 seconds, that's enough time for another thought to come in and join it. So therefore the feeling builds. And then another 17 seconds is going to build, and another 17 seconds is going to build. And the minute you've done that for a few times, you're actually creating enough momentum that the universe has heard it. That you've actually expressed that, held that sign up strong enough that the universe is going to start manifesting that with you. So it really can be played with if you're just holding on those feelings and imagining those feelings and focusing on thoughts that create the feelings of how you want to feel. You got it. That's just brilliant. That's just really, really brilliant. So I think using this time to just say, that's it. Okay, ideal life. What is the ideal life? What's the expanded version of your life? What is the version that you've always gone, if only I had time. I would love to do that, but I don't know how to actually be within that. This is the time to shake off all of the negative energy, or all of the, the things that are being imposed upon you, the things that feel restrictive. Shake it all off, release it, allow it to not be yours anymore. And then within that, invite the new energy to flow in for yourself. What do you want? What do you want to experience? How do you want to feel? How do you want it to be with your kids? It's just such a powerful invitation time. And you have, not only do you have the space and time within this moment to ask these big questions, but you have the energy of the entire globe behind you. If you take that entire earth and you imagine that all of the earth has paused and is actually in that open space of receiving, then there's all this energy that all of a sudden people are asking. And when people ask, the energy expands. So people are asking, so therefore the universe is expanding and flooding down all of this energy. And within that energy, you can tune in, open up, and just receive. There's so much growth that can happen at this time. So, I've been sitting in the background kind of going, okay, where do we navigate through this? Because I want to make sure everyone knows that I understand how hard this is and how difficult of time this is. But I have the calling now that it is time, that we take this, as of this week, we start taking this time to really relish the spiritual connection, the spiritual depth that we can dive in to in this time. That's why I made the changes to the opportunity that's happening at the end of the week when we're doing our challenge. On Friday, the challenge starts, and it's gone from just creating stability in unstable times to creating spiritual stability in these uncertain times. Because spiritual stability means that you're diving deep. The turbulent waves can be bundling up on top, but when you take spiritual stability, that means that you are diving deep below those turbulent waves and you are coasting. You are in that space of held suspension where you are held, buoyantly bouncing along. Right? There's a calm within the storm. And when you tune into that spiritual stability, you're finding the calm within the storm. And from there, not only are you held and kept safe in a spiritual connection, but at the same time, you're also moving forward with the tide, and you're brought in all of these new magical opportunities you might not have seen before, such as shaking meditations on a live. Let's just do that. So, all right. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I would love to connect with you on this. I would love to see how, even just discuss, if you don't know where to begin on creating spiritual stability, make sure that you sign up for the challenge that's starts at the end of the week. Make sure that you sign up for the different things. Make sure you reach out to me, post a question, ask. You can use this group as a sounding board to say, how does spirituality end up in a lockdown? How does it end up that we are here, and what kind of manifestation is this collectively, and what can you manifest out of this space? Big questions, and I want to ask the big questions. I want to make sure that we're using this time. So come in, share, allow this to be the time. Hi, Kathy, that's awesome. I want this to be the time that we find the spiritual connection that is available. So you release what was through that wonderful shaking meditation and allowing yourself to totally release what that was, and allowing that kind of Velcro balls to fly off of you in order to release the dust as well, in order to be able to find grounded space within you. And from that, allow the newness of what can be. It's time. All right. So in case anyone missed, I do have 2 slots on Friday that I am doing as pay what you can sessions, so those are available, and the creating spiritual stability within unstable times does also start on Friday as well. So a lot happening this week. Make sure you reach out if you need anything, and make sure you use this group to just let it rip. Let's grow together. Okay? Love and light, everyone, and I will talk to you all very soon. Let's have a good week and keep shaking. All right. Bye.